Hopes, only to have them cruelly snatched away. I wonder what we could be talking about.
Maybe it's the end of the summer already. No, it's not. Estimated that 17 million of us went through that misery of watching England's World Cup game yesterday. Almost inevitably, it ended in victory for the Germans.
Yes, today our region's been trying to come to terms with our early exit and assessing what it might cost. This from Malcolm Robertson.
The sun was still shining, and on a flaming June day, England still looked a picture. Yes, there were still reasons to be cheerful, and no outward signs of our spirits flagging after what seemed like the end of the world yesterday. Well, the end of the World Cup anyway. It does seem that this street is in a time warp, almost as if someone hasn't told them that England are out of the World Cup, or maybe it's simply that they don't want to believe it. It was left to postman Alan Bryanton to deliver a damning verdict on England's efforts.
Everybody's made the effort and they just haven't performed. Just let the whole country down.
She may have left her flags up, but Alison Brown's respect for Fabio's flops has gone down.
Watch my son play under-9 football every Sunday, and watching junior football, the little kids have more passion than what our team did.
It's estimated more than 17 million people in this country watched England's defeat. There were a few disgruntled voices at the ploughing Great Shelford.
Despondent. I'm feeling very despondent. And where was Crouch? Where was he?
And those watching the game on a big screen at Braintree were certainly a bit cross.
It's awful. Absolutely awful.
We should have won. We should have got a second goal.
They were cheap.
England's failure is a letdown for a lot of pubs like the Maltsters at Ranworth near Norwich. So many have come to rely on a bumper payday when England play.
£2,000-3,000 just for the quarter-final alone. The people are not going to come in now for England. England have gone. If we'd have gone to the semi-final or the final even, that could have generated possibly £10,000-20,000.
At nearby Woodford's brewery, they produced a new beer especially for the World Cup. It was called Game On. After yesterday's bitter experience, it might well be renamed Game Over.
It is a little bit disappointing. We don't know what effect that is going to have on the sales of the beer. It is an English and sort of old English style taste to it. So we've done our bit. Unfortunately, the other half of the team let us down somewhat.
At the House of Flags at Kimbolton, they were still busy today running up banners and flags of all descriptions. But England's defeat has certainly cast a shadow.
It'll affect sales quite dramatically, to be honest. We sort of depend on major tournaments for a lot of our business.
In 4 years, the flags will go up again. After yesterday's showing, any one of us might be in the running for that World Cup squad. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News.
So we're out of Africa, but it's great to have you with us this sunny...
Police are investigating the death of a man in Norfolk who drowned after his boat capsized at the weekend. He was on board a motorised dinghy on the River Great Ouse at Downham Market on Saturday afternoon. His body was recovered last night after a search involving divers and a rescue helicopter. Another man on board the dinghy managed to swim to safety.
And with the hot weather expected to continue, Coast Guards are warning people planning a trip to the coast to avoid putting themselves in unnecessary danger. The main concern is people getting swept out to sea on inflatables because they don't understand the risks from offshore winds. The RNLI has reported a record number of call-outs across the region, with launches and rescues up by more than 10%.
The future of modern medicine was on show at the University of East Anglia in Norwich today.
It's being claimed that so-called telemedicine would save the NHS millions of pounds. But will it ever replace real-life doctors? Kate Prout reports.
Cutting-edge technology that could change the way we're treated by our doctors. This is remote medicine on display, combining computers with video screens and medical equipment to cut down on trips to hospitals and doctor surgeries.
With this, you actually can get to see the doctor, OK, albeit on a video, but at least you can talk to the doctor across the video link. And it's not a total substitution for having to see the real doctor, but once you've seen the doctor once, it's nice if you can just keep in touch with them without having to keep going back to the hospital.
There is a training aspect to the technology as well, allowing a direct connection from operating theatre to lecture hall. And Norfolk's newest medical school wants to be involved.
Actually do it in Wales now and in Scotland too, so if not there, why not in Norfolk? What we really need now is to convince people that telemedicine, not having to go and see your doctor by travelling by bus, by car or whatever long distances in a county like Norfolk, can take place by getting groups of people together on several screens talking to each other. Will save massive amounts of money, save people travelling long distances and losing a lot of their money travelling up and down.
Telemedicine may be showing vital signs of life, but many hope it'll never replace good old-fashioned bedside manner. Kate Prout, Anglia News.
Now, two of the heaviest cranes in the UK have been in Lowestoft today to lift an historic ship onto a floating pontoon.
The SS Robin, built in 1890, is one of the only vessels left of her type. And now, following a £1.9 million restoration project, she's set to make history again as a floating museum. Laura Burns reports.
She's the last remaining complete steam coaster in the world. She may look graceful, but at 300 tonnes, lifting her in the air is no easy feat.
One of the big issues that we talked about and debated was getting the ship from a position on the slipway where she's inclined and getting it up and level so that it could be placed on the pontoon level. Everything's gone very, very well. I'm very, very pleased with the whole operation.
SS Robin is one of only 3 ships on the core collection of the National Historic Fleet Register, the ship equivalent of a Grade 1 listed building. In 2008, she came to Lowestoft for restoration and repairs. And today was the moment the team have been waiting for, as she settled onto her new floating base. Well, the team have definitely picked a beautiful day for it, and 2.5 hours later, the lift is now complete. But of course, this is only the first step of Robin's new journey. She's now off to London to become a floating museum for young people. Project Director Nish Kampfner is excited about the ship's potential.
There's been a huge amount of just real hard graft, a lot of kind of technical challenges that people have risen to, and the result is that you can really do something that is quite different, that's never been done before, and that's a fantastic feeling.
It was then time to de-rig and pull the vessel on its pontoon out onto the water. A slow process, but for all involved, a rewarding one. SS Robin will stay here for about a month before heading off to a new lease of life on the Thames, a proud piece of Britain's maritime history to look at and to learn from. Laura Burns, Anglia News, Lowestoft.
It's a sight, isn't it? Football, and Ipswich Town's players reported back for the start of pre-season training today. Almost all the squad were put through their paces. One of the only people missing was Tommy Smith, who's been on World Cup duty with New Zealand. It's been a frustrating summer for manager Roy Keane, who was looking to make 4 or 5 new signings. He admits there's little sign of any progress in the transfer market.
Very little. I spoke to a couple of players who were keen to come here, but we couldn't do the deals. You know, my job is to identify players, speak to them, which I have done, but we never managed to get the deals done, so we're disappointed. But, you know, looking forward to working with the players we have last year, and we just get on with it.
Pre-season